Millionaire CEO traveled to Europe leaving his pregnant wife with just $50. When he came back, what happened left him in shock. The door swung open and Marcus Vail found himself face to face with a stranger. Except this stranger had his ex-wife's eyes. She stood there, one hand on her hip, head tilted slightly with an expression that screamed confidence. This was not the woman he had left 8 months ago. "How are you affording this place?" Marcus heard the edge in his own voice, the desperation barely concealed. The woman who used to be his wife smiled, not warmly, not with affection. It was the kind of smile a chess player gives when they have already won the game. "I have a career, Marcus, a successful career, something you never believed I was capable of." He looked past her into the apartment, spacious, bright, filled with artwork that made his breath catch. On the walls hung paintings that pulsed with raw emotion. Pain, struggle, triumph. These were not the safe little landscapes he remembered her creating. These were masterpieces. But Isla, the European expansion, it is worth $12 million. We are set for life. We can have everything we ever wanted. Her laugh cut through him like glass. "We already have everything we want, Marcus." That is when he saw the baby. Dark curls, his eyes, sitting on a playmat, looking at him like he was just another stranger who had wandered into her home. "Do not touch her yet." Isla's voice was sharp, protective. "She does not know you. You will frighten her." The words landed like a punch to the chest. "I am her father. Biologically, yes, but you have been a stranger for her entire life." Isla picked up the baby, who immediately settled against her shoulder. "Margot, this is Marcus. He is someone who wanted to meet you. Not Daddy. Not your father. Someone." Marcus felt the world tilting beneath his feet. This was supposed to be different. He had spent 8 months in Europe closing the deal of a lifetime. He had sacrificed. He had worked 18-hour days. He had built an empire. And he had come home expecting gratitude, expecting his wife to still be waiting where he had left her, struggling, dependent, needing him. Instead, she had become something he never imagined possible, and she did not need him at all. Have you ever made a decision that seemed right in the moment, only to discover it destroyed everything you loved? Have you ever chosen success over the people who mattered most, convinced you were doing the right thing? Have you ever returned home expecting celebration, only to find you are no longer wanted? This is the story of Marcus Vail, a man who left his pregnant wife with just $50 and flew to Europe to chase his dreams. He thought he was building a future. He thought he was being smart. He thought success would make up for absence. He was wrong about everything. But the real shock was not just that his wife had survived without him. It was that she had thrived. She had transformed from a struggling artist into a force of nature. And the woman he had called his greatest asset had become his biggest regret. If you have ever believed in second chances or wondered whether love can survive betrayal, you need to hear this story. Hit that like button right now. Subscribe to Billionaire Love Stories with Mr. Brad, because this journey is about to take you through heartbreak, transformation, and the kind of justice that makes you believe in karma. Drop a comment and tell me, would you have given Marcus a second chance? Or did he get exactly what he deserved? Let's go back to where it all began, 8 months earlier, before the transformation, before the shock, before Marcus Vail learned the hardest lesson of his life. The apartment in Capitol Hill felt smaller every day. Marcus stood in the living room of their modest 2-bedroom, staring at the peeling paint on the ceiling and feeling the walls close in. At 31 years old, he had built a tech company from nothing. Vail Solutions was finally gaining traction, finally getting noticed by the right people, finally on the verge of something massive. But this apartment, these second-hand furniture pieces, the constant budgeting, the feeling of being just one bad month away from financial disaster, it was suffocating him. Isla walked in from the bedroom, her hand resting on the small swell of her stomach. 12 weeks pregnant. Her face still had that glow everyone talked about, but Marcus could see the worry lines forming around her eyes. "I talked to the landlord today. Rent is going up another $100 next month." Marcus barely heard her. He was reading an email on his phone, an email that was about to change everything. Or so he thought. Castellano Industries wants to meet, in person, in Milan. They're talking about a full European expansion, exclusive partnership. This could be worth $12 million, Isla. She moved closer, trying to see his phone screen. "That is amazing, Marcus. When is the meeting?" Next week. But it is not just one meeting. They want me there for at least 6 months, maybe longer, to build the infrastructure, to establish the partnerships, to be on the ground making this happen. The silence that followed was heavy. Isla sank onto their worn couch, her hand still on her stomach. 6 months? Marcus, I am pregnant. I know. But this is our chance, our one shot at real financial security. Do you want our child growing up in this apartment? Do you want to keep worrying about rent increases and whether we can afford baby supplies? So come with me. We will go together. I can paint anywhere. Marcus shook his head, his mind already made up. No. Castellano wants me focused, professional. Showing up with a pregnant wife does not exactly project the image of a serious businessman ready to conquer international markets. Isla stared at him like she was seeing him for the first time. You are ashamed of me. Do not be dramatic. You are ashamed of me, of us, of this baby. I am thinking about our future. Marcus's voice rose with frustration. I am thinking about giving our child opportunities we never had. I am thinking about building something that matters. We are building something that matters. Right here. A family. A family needs money. Isla, love does not pay the bills. Love does not put food on the table. Love does not send kids to good schools or pay for college or give them the life they deserve. She stood up, her eyes shining with tears. When did you become this person? The man I married wanted to change the world with technology. He wanted to help people. He wrote me poetry about how success meant nothing without someone to share it with. I grew up. Maybe you should too. The words hung in the air between them. Cruel. Final. The kind of words that cannot be taken back. Over the next 3 days, Marcus prepared for Europe. He bought new suits. He researched Italian business culture. He practiced his pitch until he could deliver it in his sleep. And he ignored the growing tension in his apartment. The way Isla had stopped talking to him except when absolutely necessary. The way she looked at him with something between heartbreak and disgust. The night before his flight, Marcus packed his suitcase in the bedroom while Isla sat on the bed watching him. Please, Marcus, please, do not do this. He did not turn around, just kept folding his expensive dress shirts, the ones his business partner had helped him pick out specifically for this trip. We have been through this a dozen times, Isla. I am 12 weeks pregnant. 12 weeks. And you are just leaving. It is not just leaving. It is securing our future. Do you want to live in this cramped apartment forever? Do you want our child growing up struggling like we have been? We have not been struggling. We have been building a life together. Marcus laughed, but there was no humor in it. You call this a life? You paint canvases that do not sell. I work 18-hour days trying to get my company off the ground. We can barely afford to eat out once a month. This European deal changes everything. Then I will come with you. We will go together. I can paint anywhere. No. The word was sharp. Final. Castellano wants me focused, professional. Showing up with a pregnant wife does not exactly project the image of a serious businessman ready to conquer international markets. Isla stood up from the bed, her voice shaking. You are ashamed of me. Stop being dramatic. You are ashamed of me, of our baby, of everything we have built together. Marcus zipped his suitcase with deliberate force. I am doing this for us. When I come back, we will have everything we ever wanted. A house, financial security, a future. You will thank me. Marcus, I am begging you. If you leave now, if you abandon us when we need you most, something will break between us that you might never be able to fix. He pulled out his wallet and counted out some bills. The sound of the money seemed obscenely loud in the quiet bedroom. He placed $50 on the dresser. There is $50. That should hold you over until my first wire transfer comes through. I will send money once the initial contract is signed. Isla looked at the crumpled bills like they were a slap across her face. $50. Marcus, rent is due in 2 weeks. Utilities, food, the medical bills for prenatal care. Call your mother if you need help. I am sure she would love to lecture me through you about what a terrible husband I am. He grabbed his suitcase and garment bag. I am late for my flight. If you walk out that door, Isla's voice broke. If you leave us like this, you will regret it for the rest of your life. Marcus paused at the bedroom doorway. For just a moment, doubt flickered across his face. Then his jaw tightened with resolve. I will call you when I land. We will figure out the money situation. This is not abandonment, Isla. This is ambition. There is a difference. He walked out of the bedroom, down the short hallway, past the living room where they had spent countless nights talking about their dreams, past the tiny kitchen where Isla had taught him to make her grandmother's pasta sauce. Out the front door, Isla stood in the bedroom doorway, listening to his footsteps fade down the exterior stairs, listening to his car start in the parking lot, listening to the engine noise disappear into the Seattle night. Then there was nothing, just silence, just the crushing weight of abandonment settling over her like a heavy blanket. She walked slowly to the dresser, picked up the $50 bills, counted them again, as if maybe she had miscounted, as if maybe there was more. $50 for rent, for food, for prenatal vitamins, for everything she would need over the next weeks while waiting for his promised wire transfer. Isla sank to the bedroom floor, her back against the bed, the money clutched in her hands. She did not cry, not yet. The tears would come later. Right now, she was just numb, frozen, trying to process the fact that the man she had married, the man she had loved with everything in her, had just valued their entire relationship at $50. Her phone buzzed. A text from Marcus. Boarding now. Will call when I land. Everything will work out. Trust me. Trust him. The man who had just proven he could not be trusted with the most basic responsibility of partnership. Isla's hand moved to her stomach, to the tiny life growing there. A life that did not know its father had already chosen business over family. A life that did not know it had just been valued at $50. We are going to be okay. She whispered it like a prayer. Like if she said it enough times it might become true. We do not need him. We are going to be okay. But even as she said the words, reality was crashing down around her. Rent was $1,200 due in 12 days. Utilities would be another $150. She had maybe $300 in her personal checking account, money she had saved from selling a few paintings at a local cafe. The math was brutal, inescapable. In less than 2 weeks, she would be homeless. Pregnant and homeless, Isla forced herself to stand, to move, to think. Falling apart was a luxury for people who had safety nets. She had $50 in 12 days to figure out how to survive. She made a list. It was something her mother had taught her during the hard years after Isla's father left. When you are overwhelmed, make a list. Break the impossible into small possible pieces. Immediate needs. Pay rent. Find a way. Prenatal vitamins. Essential. Food. Budget $10 per week. Call landlord. Explain situation. Find work. Fast. The next item on the list made her stomach clench with shame. Call mom. Helena Thorne was a successful real estate agent in Portland, a woman who had built herself up from nothing after Isla's father abandoned them when Isla was 5 years old. Helena had warned her about Marcus, called him too ambitious, too focused on what you can do for him rather than building with you. Isla had defended him, fought with her mother over his character, insisted that Marcus was different, that he loved her, that they were partners. Now she had to call and admit Helena had been right all along. She waited until morning, sat on the couch as sunlight filtered through their cheap curtains, stared at her phone for 20 minutes before finally dialing. Helena answered on the second ring. Isla, is everything all right? The concern in her mother's voice broke something inside her. Mom, I need help. The silence on the other end was heavy, not with judgment, but with the weight of unspoken "I told you so." Where is he? Elena's voice was careful, controlled. Europe, business deal. He left yesterday. I am 12 weeks pregnant and he left me with $50. She heard her mother take a sharp breath, then a long exhale. That absolute piece of... Helena bit off whatever words she had been about to unleash. I am coming to Seattle. I will be there by tonight. Mom, you do not have to. You are my daughter. You are pregnant, and you need help. I am coming. Helena Thorne arrived 8 hours later. She walked into the small Capitol Hill apartment, took one look at her daughter's pale, exhausted face, and pulled her into a fierce hug. We are going to fix this. All of it. I cannot just be a charity case, Mom. I cannot. Helena held Isla at arm's length, her dark eyes blazing with determination. Stop. You are not a charity case. You are a talented artist and a strong woman who made the mistake of trusting a man who did not deserve you. Now we are going to show that fool what you are actually worth." Over the next 3 days, Helena helped Isla create what she called a survival plan. They started with the landlord. Mrs. Chen was a widow in her 60s who owned the small apartment building. She had raised 3 children alone after her husband died young. She had seen struggle up close. Isla and Helena sat in Mrs. Chen's cluttered office on the ground floor. Isla explained the situation, tried to keep her voice steady, failed about halfway through when the reality of it all hit her again. Mrs. Chen listened without interrupting. When Isla finished, the older woman was quiet for a long moment. "My husband died when my youngest was 6 months old. The life insurance company tried to deny the claim on a technicality. I had $83 and 3 babies to feed. I am so sorry." Isla wiped at her eyes. "I am not telling you for sympathy. I am telling you so you know I understand." Mrs. Chen pulled out a rental agreement and wrote something on it. "I will give you 3 months. 3 months of reduced rent, $600 instead of $1,200. But you pay me back the difference when you can, and you figure out a long-term solution. Deal?" Isla felt tears of relief spilling down her face. "Deal. Thank you. Thank you so much." The next challenge was income. Isla's paintings had not been selling well enough to live on, and most traditional jobs would not hire someone visibly pregnant who would need maternity leave in 6 months. What about teaching? Helena suggested over coffee that evening. "Art classes for kids. You are brilliant with children. You could set your own schedule." Isla had never considered teaching, but desperation breeds innovation. That night, she created flyers. Simple, professional. Art classes for young minds, $20 per child. 2-hour sessions, Saturdays and Sundays at the community center. She posted the flyers at coffee shops, community boards, pediatrician offices. She reached out to local parenting groups on social media. She sent messages to every parent she had ever met through her previous art showings. The response was slow, agonizingly slow. 3 children showed up to her first class, a shy 7-year-old girl, twin boys who spent more time throwing paint at each other than at the canvas, and their exhausted mother who looked grateful to have 2 hours of peace. Isla taught them about color theory, about expressing emotions through art, about how there was no such thing as a mistake in painting, only happy accidents. The twins went home with paintings that were 75% chaos and 30% genius. The little girl created a watercolor that made Isla's heart ache with its simple beauty. $60. After paying the community center for the room rental, Isla netted $45. It was not much, but it was something. It was hers. It was proof she could do this. By the 4th week, she had 12 children in her classes. By the 8th week, she had a waiting list. Word spread among Seattle parents that there was this amazing pregnant art teacher who made their kids feel like real artists, who encouraged them instead of correcting them, who taught them that creativity was more important than perfection. $400 a week. After expenses, it was enough. Combined with Mrs. Chen's rent reduction, Isla could survive. Marcus called every Sunday like clockwork. The calls followed a predictable pattern. He would talk for 20 minutes about his week, the meetings with investors, the site visits to potential offices, the negotiations that were going brilliantly. Then, almost as an afterthought, he would ask how she was doing. "How are things there?" "I'm managing." Isla kept her voice neutral, gave him nothing. "That is my girl. I knew you could handle it. Listen, the deal is taking a bit longer than expected, probably looking at 8 months instead of 6, but it is going to be worth it. How is the baby?" "Fine, growing." "That is good. That is really good. Hey, I have to run. Meeting in 20 minutes. Love you." He would hang up before she could respond. Not that she would have said it back. The words "I love you" felt like lies now. How could he love her and leave her like this? How could he love their child and miss everything? In November, Marcus wired $500. He sent a text with the transfer. "Hope this helps. More coming soon." $500. Over 2 months. He was in Europe, spending who knows how much on hotels and meals and business expenses, and he sent $500 to his pregnant wife. Isla did not respond to the text, just moved the money into her account and kept teaching, kept painting, kept surviving. But something was changing inside her. The soft-spoken artist who had deferred to her husband's judgment was being forged into someone harder, someone who understood her own worth, someone who would never again make herself small for a man's ego. She started painting again, Not for money, not for sales, just for herself. She painted her anger, her abandonment, her growing strength. She painted a woman standing alone on a shore watching ships sail away. She painted hands cradling a belly surrounded by shadows that could not quite touch the light emanating from within. She painted survival. One Tuesday afternoon in early December, a woman walked into Isla's art class at the community center. Well-dressed, probably in her early 50s. She stood at the back of the room watching Isla teach 14 children about perspective. After class, the woman approached. "I am Miriam Ross. I own the gallery on Pike Street." "Who painted that?" She was pointing to one of Isla's pieces, the one of the woman on the shore. Isla had brought it to hang on the community center wall because the blank white space had been depressing her. "I did." Isla felt suddenly self-conscious. "This is extraordinary." Miriam moved closer to the painting, studying it. "It is raw and honest and painful in the best way." "How much?" "It is not for sale. It is personal. Everything is for sale at the right price. But that is not why I am here." Miriam turned to face Ila. "I want to show your work. My gallery. Next month. 6 pieces on consignment. If they sell, we split 70-30 in your favor." Isla stared at this stranger, who was offering her something Marcus never had. Validation of her talent. "I am sorry, what?" "I have been running my gallery for 15 years. I know real art when I see it. This is real. This is the kind of work that makes people feel something. That is rare. I do not know what to say. Say yes. Then go home and paint 5 more pieces like this one. Pour everything you are feeling into them. Do not hold back. Do not try to make them pretty or commercial or safe. Make them true." Isla felt something shift inside her chest. A tiny crack in the wall she had built around her heart. "Okay. Yes. Thank you." Over the next 3 weeks, Isla painted like a woman possessed. She painted her grief, her rage, her fear, her growing realization that she was stronger than she had ever known. She painted at night after teaching classes. She painted early in the morning before the sun came up. She painted while her mother watched and quietly cried at the raw emotion pouring out of her daughter. 6 paintings, each one a piece of her soul laid bare on canvas. The gallery showing opened on a rainy Saturday in January. Isla stood in the corner wearing a black dress that barely concealed her pregnancy. 20 weeks now. Her belly was undeniable. People wandered through the gallery. They stopped at her paintings. They stood there for long moments, studying the brushstrokes, the color choices, the raw emotion captured in oil and canvas. By the end of the night, all 6 paintings had sold. All of them. Miriam found Isla in the back room, staring at the little red sold stickers on her price sheet. $8,000. Miriam was smiling. "After my commission, you walk away with $5,600. Not bad for your first real showing." Isla could not speak, could not process the number. $5,600. More money than Marcus had sent her in 4 months. More money than she had ever made from her art. More money than she had thought her work was worth. When she got home that night, she sat on the floor of her apartment and cried, not from sadness, from the overwhelming realization that she could actually do this. She could actually survive and even thrive without Marcus. The next day, she paid Mrs. Chen back every penny of the reduced rent she had owed. She bought proper prenatal vitamins. She bought healthy food instead of the cheapest options. She put $2,000 in savings. She bought herself a new winter coat because the one she had been wearing had a broken zipper she had been meaning to fix for months. When Marcus called that Sunday, his voice was strained, frustrated. "The investors are getting cold feet. European regulations are more complicated than we thought. This is taking longer than expected." "How much longer?" For the first time in months, Isla actually cared about his answer. Not because she needed him, but because she was curious how much more of his life he would waste chasing this deal. "Maybe 10 months total." "I know it is longer than we planned." "Okay." The single word seemed to catch him off guard. "Just okay?" "What do you want me to say, Marcus?" "You are going to do what you are going to do. You always have." "Isla, come on. Do not be like that. This is for us, for our family." "Is it?" "Because from where I am standing, this is for you, for your ego, for your need to prove something to people who do not actually care about you. That is not fair." "You want to talk about fair?" Isla felt anger rising in her chest. "You left me pregnant with $50, Marcus. 50. I have been teaching art classes to children to make rent. I have been budgeting $10 a week for food. I have been building a life from absolutely nothing while you have been in Europe living your dream. Do not talk to me about fair." The line was quiet for a long moment. I sent money. $500 in 4 months. Congratulations. You are a real provider. I am doing the best I can. This deal is more complicated than I thought. The expenses here are enormous. Then maybe you should come home. Marcus was quiet. Then, I cannot. Not yet. Not when we are this close. Then, I guess you made your choice. Isla hung up before he could respond. She sat there on her couch, feeling her baby kick for what might have been the 100th time. She placed her hand on her stomach and felt the flutter of movement. This tiny life that Marcus was missing. This tiny miracle that she was experiencing completely alone. But not alone, she realized. She had Mrs. Chen. She had the community of parents who brought their children to her art classes. She had Miriam, who believed in her talent. She had herself. Marcus had Europe. She had everything that actually mattered. By February, Isla's life had transformed in ways she could not have imagined 6 months earlier. She had moved out of the Capitol Hill apartment. Mrs. Chen had helped her find a better place. A duplex in Queen Anne. The upstairs unit, 2 bedrooms. A small balcony where Isla could set up an easel and paint in natural light. It cost more, $900 a month. But Isla could afford it now, because the art was selling. Miriam had sold 3 more of her paintings to a collector from California for $5,000 each, $15,000. The collector had commissioned a custom piece for another $8,000. Suddenly, Isla was not just surviving, she was building a career. She opened her own bank account, separate from the joint account she had shared with Marcus. She made plans for the baby. A used crib from a consignment shop, baby clothes from thoughtful friends at her art classes, a bassinet that Mrs. Chen's daughter had used for her own children. She took a childbirth class at the hospital, sat in a room full of couples, the only woman there alone. Well, not entirely alone. Helena came to every class, sat beside her daughter, held her hand during the breathing exercises, promised she would be there for the birth. Isla was 6 months pregnant now. Her belly was round and undeniable. The baby kicked constantly, especially when she painted. She had taken to talking to the little one, telling stories about the life they would build together. "We are going to be okay, little love." She would whisper it while painting, while teaching, while lying in bed at night. "We are going to be more than okay. We are going to be extraordinary." When Marcus called in late February, he sounded tired, defeated. The deal is falling apart. The investors keep changing the terms. The regulatory approval is taking forever. I do not know if this is going to work. Then come home. I have put 8 months into this, Isla. I cannot just walk away. Yes, you can. You can get on a plane tomorrow and come home. You can choose your family over your ego. You can actually be here for the birth of your child. Isla paused. Or you can keep chasing a deal that is clearly dying and miss everything that actually matters. You do not understand business. Sometimes you have to push through the hard parts. And sometimes you have to know when to cut your losses, but you are going to do what you want anyway. You always do. She hung up. Did not wait for his response. Did not care what he thought anymore. Because the truth was, Isla did not need him. She had proven that to herself over the past 8 months. She had survived. She had thrived. She had built a life and a career and a future for herself and her baby. Marcus was still chasing a dream in Europe. Isla was living one in Seattle. March came with rain and the constant ache in Isla's lower back that her doctor said was normal for 7 months pregnant. She was teaching smaller classes now, just 8 children. It was all her body could handle. But those 8 children adored her, made her cards, drew pictures of her with her big belly, asked if they could visit the baby when it was born. Isla had rented a small studio space, just a corner of a shared artist warehouse south of downtown. It was hers, a place where she could create without the ghost of Marcus's absence haunting every corner. She painted there 3 mornings a week, big canvases, bold colors, images that captured transformation and strength and the fierce love of a mother for her unborn child. Miriam visited often, brought coffee, herbal tea for Isla, sat and watched her paint, offered advice when asked, stayed silent when not. "You know what I love about your work?" Miriam said one morning in early April. "It is not trying to be beautiful. It is trying to be true. And truth is always more valuable than beauty." Marcus used to say my paintings were nice. Isla did not look up from her canvas. He would suggest I paint things people actually wanted to buy. Sunsets, flowers, safe things. Nice is the death of art. What you are creating now, this is alive. This is powerful. This is the kind of work that changes how people see the world. Isla's second gallery showing opened in mid-April. She was 8 months pregnant. So pregnant she could barely see her feet. She wore a flowing dress that Miriam had helped her pick out. Something that made her look artistic and intentional rather than just massively pregnant. The gallery was packed. More people than the first showing. Word had spread about the raw emotional power of her work. Critics came. Collectors came. People who had bought from the first showing and wanted to see what she would create next. By the end of the opening night, she had sold 9 paintings for a total of $22,000. After Miriam's commission, Isla walked away with over $15,000. A man from California bought 3 pieces, introduced himself as a collector who specialized in emerging artists. He shook Isla's hand and told her she had a gift. A real gift. He asked if he could commission another custom work, $8,000. Isla said yes, because why not? She was building something real, something that was entirely hers, something Marcus had never believed she could achieve. When she got home that night, exhausted but exhilarated, she opened her own bank account statement. The one Marcus did not have access to, the one she had built from nothing. $28,000 in savings. She had done it. She had actually done it. Built a life, a career, financial security, all without the man who had promised to provide for her and then abandoned her with $50. Isla placed her hand on her swollen belly, felt her daughter kick. Yes, daughter. The ultrasound had confirmed it last month. A girl, Margot Helena Vale, named after Isla's grandmother and her mother. "We did it, little one," she whispered into the quiet of her new apartment. "We are going to be just fine." Marcus called that Sunday. His voice was different, strained, almost desperate. "Isla, I think I am going to have to come home soon. This deal is not working out. We have sunk so much money into it and it is just not happening." "Okay. Just okay? I thought you would be happy. I will be home. I will be there for the last few weeks of your pregnancy." "My pregnancy." Ila's voice was cold. "Not our pregnancy. Not our baby. My pregnancy. You know what I mean. Actually, I do not think I do. I think you mean you are running out of options in Europe, so you might as well come back to the backup plan, which is me, sitting here, waiting for you. That is not fair. You keep saying that." Isla felt anger rising, like I am being unreasonable, like I am the one who has done something wrong. "Marcus, you have missed everything. Every doctor's appointment, every ultrasound, every milestone. You missed the first time she kicked. You missed finding out we are having a daughter. You missed all of it because you chose a business deal over your family. I was trying to provide for you. I provided for myself. I did not need you." The words hung in the air. Final, devastating. True. What does that mean? It means I am not the woman you left 8 months ago. It means I have built a life without you. It means I do not need you to come home and save me because I already saved myself. Marcus was quiet for a long moment. "Isla, I love you. I love our baby. I made mistakes, but I am trying to fix them." "Some things cannot be fixed, Marcus. Some things are just broken." She ended the call, sat in the quiet of her apartment, felt Margot kicking, strong kicks. This baby was a fighter, just like her mother. 2 weeks later, on a Tuesday afternoon in early May, Isla went into labor. She was teaching an art class when her water broke. 12 children and their parents descended into various states of panic and excitement, while Isla calmly called her mother. "Mom, it is time." Helena arrived at the community center within 20 minutes, helped Isla to the car, drove to the hospital with the calm efficiency of someone who had done this before. "I am scared, Mom," Isla admitted as another contraction rolled through her. "I know, baby, but you are the strongest person I know. You have handled everything these past 8 months. You can handle this too." The labor was long, brutal. 16 hours of pain that felt like it might split her apart. Helena was there the whole time, holding her hand, wiping her forehead, reminding her to breathe. The nurses kept asking about the father. Where is Dad? Does Dad know you are in labor? Should we call Dad? Finally, Isla snapped. Dad is in Europe chasing a failed business deal. Dad chose money over family. Dad does not get to be here. Can we please stop asking about Dad? The nurses stopped asking. At 3:47 in the morning on May 10th, Margot Helena Vale entered the world. 6 pounds, 9 ounces. Perfect, beautiful, screaming with the righteous anger of someone who had just been evicted from the only home she had ever known. The doctor placed the tiny, furious baby on Isla's chest. Isla looked down at her daughter and felt her heart break open in the best possible way. Hello, Margot. Tears streamed down her face. Hello, my beautiful girl. We did it. We made it. Helena stood beside the hospital bed, crying too. She is perfect. Absolutely perfect. Isla's phone buzzed on the bedside table. A text from Marcus. How are you feeling? The morning sickness getting any better? She stared at the text. He did not even know what month it was. Did not realize she was past the morning sickness stage. Did not know his daughter had just been born. She typed a response with her free hand. I had the baby. A girl. Margot Helena Vale. We are both healthy. His response came quickly. What? You had the baby? Why did you not tell me you were in labor? It happened fast. Isla did not have the energy for more lies. Everything is fine. We are fine. I am coming home as soon as I can. I should be there for this. Take your time with your deal. We are managing. There was a long pause before his next message. I love you. Tell our daughter I will be home soon. Isla did not respond. She was too busy falling in love with the tiny human in her arms. The one who would never doubt her mother's dedication. The one who would grow up knowing she was wanted. Chosen. Loved. Marcus could come home whenever he wanted, but he had already missed the moment that mattered most, and Isla was no longer waiting for him to show up. She had Margot now. She had her art. She had her independence. She had everything she needed. And when Marcus finally did come home, he was going to discover a truth that would shatter his comfortable assumptions about the world. The woman he had abandoned had not just survived. She had flourished. She had become someone he never imagined. Someone who did not need him at all. The shock was coming. Marcus just did not know it yet. Motherhood was harder than anything Isla had ever experienced. Margot was colicky. She cried for hours despite every soothing technique Isla tried. Walking, rocking, singing, white noise machines. Nothing seemed to help. Sleep became a distant memory, a luxury Isla could barely recall. Her body ached in ways she had not known possible. Her breasts were constantly sore from breastfeeding. Her back hurt from carrying the baby. Her eyes burned from exhaustion. But she had never been happier. There was something profound about those 3 a.m. feeding sessions. Sitting in the rocking chair Helena had bought for the nursery. The apartment dark and quiet except for the soft sounds of Margot nursing, the weight of her daughter in her arms, the trust in those tiny eyes, the absolute certainty that this little human depended entirely on her. Isla would look down at Margot's perfect face and feel overwhelmed by a love so fierce it was almost frightening. She would protect this child from anything, anyone, even from a father who had already proven he could not be trusted to show up. Helena stayed for 3 weeks after the birth. She cooked. She cleaned. She held Margot when Isla needed to shower or sleep or just breathe for 5 minutes. She was the support system Marcus should have been. You are doing an amazing job. Helena said it every day, like she knew Isla needed to hear it, like she understood the crushing weight of single motherhood. I do not feel like I am doing an amazing job. I feel like I am barely surviving. That is what amazing looks like sometimes. Survival, when everything feels impossible. That is strength, baby. The art classes continued with Helena's help. Helena would watch Margot while Isla taught on Saturday and Sunday mornings. The children who had been in her classes for months now asked about the baby. They drew pictures for her. They brought tiny handmade gifts. They became invested in this little life they had watched grow through Isla's pregnancy. But Isla also found herself painting more, not less. Creating art had become her therapy, her way of processing the enormous changes in her life. She painted between feedings, during rare nap times. In those early morning hours when Margot finally fell asleep and the world was quiet, she painted motherhood, the exhaustion, the overwhelming love, the fear that she was doing everything wrong, the certainty that she would die for this tiny human without hesitation. She painted truth. Miriam visited in early June, brought expensive coffee for Helena and herbal tea for Isla, held Margot with the careful awkwardness of someone who had never had children but respected their importance. These new pieces, Miriam studied the 3 paintings Isla had completed since Margot's birth. These are your best work yet. There is a vulnerability here that is breathtaking. They are too personal to sell. The best art is always too personal to sell, until you sell it anyway. Miriam smiled. I have a collector who specifically requested your work. She is willing to pay $15,000 for a custom piece about motherhood. Interested? $15,000. For one painting. Isla looked at her sleeping daughter, at the bills stacked on her kitchen counter, at the life she was building from determination and talent, and sheer stubborn refusal to fail. Yes, I am interested. By the end of June, Isla had completed the commissioned piece, a large canvas showing a mother's hands cradling an infant. But the hands were also roots, growing deep into the earth, strong, unshakable. The infant was surrounded by light that seemed to emanate from the mother's touch. It was powerful, raw, true. The collector paid $15,000 without hesitation, said it was the most moving piece she had seen in years. Asked to be notified of any future work, Isla put $10,000 in savings, used the rest to pay off her hospital bills from Margot's birth. She was 26 years old, a single mother, an artist making more money than she had ever dreamed possible. And she had built it all without the man who had promised to take care of her. When Marcus called in late June, his voice was tight with barely controlled frustration. The deal is dead, completely dead. The investors pulled out. European regulations made it impossible. We lost everything we put into it. I am sorry, and Isla meant it. Not because she wanted him to succeed, but because she was not cruel enough to celebrate his failure. 8 months. 8 months of my life wasted. $2 million down the drain, all for nothing. Then come home. I am booking a flight for next week. I will finally get to meet our daughter. Our daughter. Isla felt anger spike in her chest. You mean the daughter you have never met? The daughter whose birth you missed because you were in Europe chasing a deal that just failed? That daughter? Isla, please. I know I messed up. I know I should have been there. But I am coming home now. We can be a family. Marcus, we are not a family. We are a broken marriage and a father who is a stranger to his child. Do not say that. It is the truth. You have been gone for 8 months. You have missed everything. And now you want to just come home and pretend none of it happened? Pretend you did not abandon us. Pretend you did not choose business over family and lose anyway. What do you want me to say? That I was wrong? Fine. I was wrong. I made a mistake, but I am trying to fix it now. Some mistakes cannot be fixed, Marcus. Some things are just broken. She hung up before he could respond, sat on her couch holding Margot, this beautiful baby who looked so much like her father. Same dark hair, same chin, same eyes that would probably turn gray like his as she got older. This baby who deserved better than a father who only showed up after all his other options failed. Helena watched from the kitchen doorway. Are you going to let him see her? I do not know. Isla's voice was barely a whisper. Part of me wants to protect her from him, from the disappointment of having a father who is only there when it is convenient. And the other part thinks every child deserves to know their father, even if their father is a selfish idiot who does not deserve them. Marcus Vale stepped off the plane at SeaTac International Airport on a humid afternoon in late June. 8 months. He had been gone for 8 months. It felt like a lifetime. It felt like yesterday. It felt like he had stepped into a different dimension where everything he thought he knew was wrong. The European expansion was dead. $2 million lost. 8 months wasted. His business partner back in Seattle was barely speaking to him. The company they had built was struggling because Marcus had neglected it while chasing dreams in Europe. But he was home now, and he was going to fix things with Isla. He would apologize, explain that he had been caught up in the excitement of the deal, promise to be better. She would understand. She always understood. He had sent her $2,000 over the 8 months. It was not as much as he had intended, but expenses in Europe had been crushing. She would understand that too. She was practical, reasonable. His Isla. Marcus took a taxi to their apartment in Capitol Hill. He had texted Isla that he was coming home. She had not responded. Probably just busy with the baby. He would surprise her. Show up with gifts. He had bought an expensive stuffed animal at the airport, Italian leather baby shoes, a designer diaper bag, things that showed he had been thinking about them. The taxi pulled up to the familiar building. Marcus paid the driver, grabbed his luggage and the shopping bag full of gifts, climbed the exterior stairs to their third-floor unit. He knocked on the door, waited, knocked again. The door opened, but it was not Isla standing there. It was Mrs. Chen, the landlord. She looked at him with an expression somewhere between surprise and disgust. "Oh, Mr. Vale, you are back." Marcus frowned. "Is Isla here? Why do you have a key to our apartment? This is not your apartment anymore. Has not been for 3 months." The words hit him like ice water. "What? What are you talking about? Your wife moved out in March. Said she needed more space with the baby coming. Didn't she tell you?" Marcus felt the world tilting. "Moved out? Where? Why? When? Do you have her new address?" Mrs. Chen's expression cooled even further. "I am not sure I should give that to you. She is my wife. That is my daughter." His voice rose with panic and anger. "The wife you abandoned while pregnant with $50? Mrs. Chen's voice dripped with contempt. "Yes, she told me all about it. You should be ashamed of yourself. I did not abandon her. I was building a future for us. By leaving her with nothing, that is not building a future. That is running away." Mrs. Chen started to close the door. "She is doing fine without you. Better than fine, actually. Maybe you should think about whether she needs you coming back into her life at all." The door shut in his face with finality. Marcus stood in the empty hallway. Shock and anger crashed through him in waves. How dare Isla move without telling him? How dare she poison people against him with her sob story about being abandoned? He had been working, providing, sacrificing. He pulled out his phone, called Isla. It rang 4 times before going to voicemail. He tried again and again. By the 5th call, his messages were losing their patience. "Isla, it is me. I am back. I am at the apartment, but Mrs. Chen says you moved. Call me. We need to talk." By the 6th call, he was barely controlling his anger. "Isla, answer your phone. This is ridiculous. I have been gone for 8 months, working for our future, and you cannot even give me your new address?" The 7th call, she finally answered. Her voice was different, colder, more controlled than he had ever heard it. "Marcus, where are you? Why did you not tell me you moved? I sent you a text in March. Maybe you were too busy to read it." Marcus scrolled through their message history with growing dread. There it was, a text from March 15th that he had apparently never responded to. "Found a bigger place. Better for the baby. We'll send you the address when we are settled." He had missed it. Completely missed it in the flood of business messages and investor emails and crisis management. "Okay, I missed the text. I am sorry. I was drowning in contract negotiations. Where are you now? I want to see you and Margot." There was a long pause. "You can come by tomorrow afternoon. 2 p.m. I will text you the address." "Tomorrow? Isla, I just got back. I want to see my daughter now." "Tomorrow, Marcus. That is what works for me." Her voice was firm, unyielding. "And Marcus, things have changed. A lot. Do not expect to just walk back into the life you left behind." She hung up before he could respond. Marcus stood on the sidewalk outside what used to be their apartment. A cold feeling settled in his stomach. Something was very wrong. This was not the Isla he had left. This was someone else, someone harder, someone who did not need him. He checked into a hotel that night, a mid-range chain because his finances were a disaster after the European failure. He lay awake in the generic room staring at the ceiling, wondering what exactly he was going to find at 2 p.m. the next day, wondering if he had made the biggest mistake of his life, wondering if it was too late to fix it. The address Isla sent was in Queen Anne. Marcus frowned at his phone as he drove through the upscale neighborhood the next afternoon. Tree-lined streets, beautiful historic homes, Modern townhouses that probably cost a fortune. There was no way Isla could afford anything here. She must be renting a room in someone's house. That had to be it. But the GPS led him to a charming craftsman-style duplex with a small garden in front bursting with color. The upper unit had a balcony with flower boxes. Very Isla. Very expensive. Marcus parked and sat in his car for 5 minutes, gathering himself, preparing for whatever was about to happen. He had practiced what he would say, how he would apologize, how he would explain, how he would convince her to give him another chance. He walked up to the door at exactly 2 p.m., knocked, waited. The door swung open, and Marcus found himself face to face with a stranger who had his wife's eyes. She looked like Isla, but different. She had cut her hair into a shoulder-length style that was both sophisticated and artistic. She had lost the pregnancy weight. She wore well-fitted jeans and a paint-splattered shirt that somehow looked intentional rather than messy. But the biggest change was in her eyes. They held a strength and certainty that had not been there before. This was not the woman he had left 8 months ago. "Marcus, come in." He stepped into the apartment and felt his carefully prepared speech evaporate. The space was beautiful, spacious and bright with high ceilings and hardwood floors. Original artwork covered the walls. Her work, but not the safe little landscapes he remembered. These were powerful, emotional, demanding. These were real art. "How are you affording this place?" The question came out wrong, accusatory instead of curious. She smiled, not warmly. It was a smile of someone who had already won a game he did not know he was playing. "I have a career, Marcus, a successful career, something you never believed I was capable of. But, Isla," he tried again, "the apartment, the neighborhood, this must cost $900 a month, less than our old place cost you. Because I negotiated, because I proved myself as a reliable tenant, because I built relationships instead of just throwing money at problems." Marcus looked past her and saw the baby. Dark hair, pudgy cheeks, sitting on a playmat surrounded by colorful toys. His daughter, Margot. She was beautiful, perfect, looking at him with curious dark eyes that would probably turn gray like his. "She is beautiful." His voice caught in his throat. "Do not touch her yet." Isla's voice was sharp, protective. "She does not know you. You will frighten her. I am her father. Biologically, yes, but you have been a stranger for her entire life." Isla moved to the playmat and picked up Margot. The baby immediately settled against her mother's shoulder, completely trusting, completely comfortable. "Margot, this is Marcus. He is someone who wanted to meet you. Not Daddy, not your father. Someone." Marcus felt something crack inside his chest. Someone. That was what he had become through his own choices. Someone. A stranger to his own child. The European expansion. He tried desperately to regain some ground. "It is worth $12 million. The deal went through. We are set for life. We can have everything we ever wanted." Isla's laugh was sharp, humorless. "We already have everything we want, Marcus. You cannot mean that. This apartment, your art, it is impressive, really impressive. But $12 million, Isla. We could buy a house, a real house. You could paint as a hobby instead of having to sell your work. We could travel, give Margot everything. Do you hear yourself?" Isla's eyes flashed with controlled fury. "You want me to paint as a hobby? You want to buy me a house with your money from a deal you made while abandoning your pregnant wife? You want to erase the last 8 months and pretend none of it happened? I want us to move forward as a family. We are not a family, Marcus. We are a broken marriage and a father who is a stranger to his own daughter." "Do not say that. It is the truth. Do you know what the last 8 months have been like? Do you have any idea? I know it must have been difficult." "Difficult?" Isla's voice rose slightly. Margot stirred against her shoulder. "You left me with $50, Marcus. 50. The rent was $1,200. I had to beg Mrs. Chen for a reduction. I had to call my mother, the mother I had fought with because I defended you. I had to admit she was right about you all along. I sent money. $500. Over 8 months. 500. Isla's voice shook with barely controlled emotion. "I was pregnant, terrified, abandoned. I had to create art classes for children to make money. I had to budget so carefully that I made a single chicken last for 5 meals. I had to build a life from absolutely nothing while you were in Europe living your dream. I was working for our future. No, you were working for your future. I was never part of the equation. Isla moved to the crib in the corner of the living room, set Margot down gently. The baby fussed for a moment, then settled with a stuffed animal. You know what the worst part was? Not the money, not the fear. It was realizing that you did not love me. Maybe you never did. Because if you loved me, if you truly loved me, you never could have walked out that door. That is not fair. Fair? You want to talk about fair? You missed everything, Marcus. My entire pregnancy. The fear when I felt her kick for the first time and had no one to share it with. The terror of going into labor alone. Well, not alone. My mother was there. She was there for all of it because you chose business over family. I thought you would understand. I understand perfectly. I understand that you are selfish, that you see people as tools for getting what you want, that you married me because I was supportive and quiet and did not challenge your ambitions, not because you actually loved who I was. Marcus felt panic rising. This was not going the way he had planned. Not at all. Isla, please, I made mistakes. I should have sent more money. I should have come back for the birth. But I am here now. Let me make it right. You cannot make this right, Marcus. You cannot undo 8 months of abandonment with apologies and European money. Then what do you want from me? The desperation in his voice was obvious, pathetic. What will it take for you to forgive me? Isla looked at him with something that might have been pity. I do not want anything from you. I have built a life I am proud of. I have my art, my daughter, my independence. I do not need you to swoop in and save me because I already saved myself. What about Margot? She needs a father. She needs a parent who shows up, who is reliable, who chooses her over business deals and European expansion. Can you be that person, Marcus? The question hung in the air, heavy, demanding honesty. Marcus wanted to say yes immediately, to promise anything that would fix this. But Isla's eyes demanded truth. First, the business still needs me. The European expansion requires oversight. Even though the deal fell through, there are still obligations. I would need to travel frequently. Then you have your answer. Isla's voice was gentle now, almost sad. You are not ready to be the father Margot deserves. Maybe someday you will be, but not today. So that is it? You are just going to cut me out of her life? No, you are cutting yourself out by refusing to make her a priority. I am just being honest about it. Isla moved to the door, opened it, a clear invitation for him to leave. You can see Margot when you are in town. Supervised visits until she is old enough to know you. I will not keep you from her, but do not expect me to pretend we are a family when you have shown exactly where your priorities lie. Marcus stood there, frozen, looking between Isla and the baby in the crib. His daughter, his wife, his former life, everything he had thought he wanted. I can change. His voice was barely a whisper. Then prove it. Show up consistently for Margot, not with gifts or money, but with your time and attention. Build a real relationship with your daughter. And maybe, someday I will believe you have actually changed. And us? Is there any chance for us? Isla's smile was sad. You killed us when you walked out that door 8 months ago. I grieved that marriage, Marcus. I mourned the man I thought you were. And then I realized I was better off without you. Stronger, more myself. You did not leave me behind when you went to Europe. You set me free. The words should have hurt, but Marcus felt strangely numb. He looked around the apartment one more time. At the successful art career, at the beautiful baby, at the woman who had transformed herself from abandoned wife to independent force of nature. I underestimated you. The admission came out quiet, defeated. Yes, you did. Most men do. Isla's expression softened slightly. Goodbye, Marcus. Call before you come by next time. And do not expect me to drop everything for your schedule. Margot and I have our own life now. Marcus walked out of the duplex in a daze, sat in his car for 20 minutes, staring at the Craftsman home, trying to process what had just happened. He had returned from Europe expecting gratitude, expecting a wife eager to benefit from his success, expecting to be needed. Instead, he had found a woman who did not need him, did not want him, had built something he had not thought her capable of. And the worst part, the part that was starting to sink in with horrible clarity, was that she was right about everything. He had been selfish. He had abandoned her. He had chosen his ego over his family, and he had lost everything that actually mattered. His phone buzzed. A text from his business partner. "We need to talk. The European situation is worse than I thought. Call me." Marcus stared at the text. The European situation, the deal that was supposed to change everything. The reason he had sacrificed his marriage and missed his daughter's birth. That situation was about to get a lot worse. Because the truth Marcus had not told Isla, was that the deal had not just fallen through. It had collapsed spectacularly, and it was about to take everything else down with it. Over the next 3 months, Marcus tried to be present in Margot's life. He visited every other weekend, brought expensive toys and designer baby clothes that Isla accepted with polite indifference. He would sit on her living room floor trying to connect with a baby who looked at him with uncertainty, while Isla painted in her studio space and pointedly gave them alone time. It was excruciating. Marcus had built a multi-million-dollar company through force of will and strategic thinking, but he had no idea how to connect with his own daughter. Margot would cry when he picked her up. She would calm only when Isla took her back. She did not smile at him the way she smiled at her grandmother or even at Mrs. Chen, who visited sometimes. He was a stranger to his own child, and he had no one to blame but himself. The European expansion, meanwhile, was dying a slow, agonizing death. What Marcus had not told Isla, what he had been too ashamed to admit, was that the deal had not just fallen through cleanly. It had imploded. The investors who had been so enthusiastic were now threatening lawsuits. The European regulatory agencies were investigating potential violations. The $2 million Marcus's company had sunk into the expansion was gone. Completely gone. And now there were legal fees, penalties, the very real possibility of losing everything. His business partner, David, finally forced the conversation in early October. They sat in a conference room at Vale Solutions, the company they had built from nothing, the company that was now drowning in debt from a failed international expansion. "We need to cut our losses in Europe." David's voice was blunt, exhausted. "We have sunk $2 million into this expansion and we are nowhere close to operational. The European market is different than we anticipated. The cultural barriers, the regulatory requirements. Marcus, this is not going to work. We are so close. We are drowning. And if we do not pull out now, we will lose everything. The American business, the clients we have built here, all of it." Marcus thought about the 8 months in Europe, the sacrifices, leaving Isla pregnant, missing Margot's birth, destroying his marriage, all for a deal that was collapsing. "Fine." His voice was hollow. "Pull out. Salvage what we can." The European expansion officially died 2 weeks later. The dream Marcus had sacrificed everything for evaporated, leaving him with a struggling business that had been neglected for 8 months and massive debt from the failed expansion. He did not tell Isla, could not bear to admit that the future he had promised, the success he had chosen over her, had crumbled into nothing. So he kept showing up for his scheduled visits with Margot, kept trying to build some kind of relationship with a baby who did not know him, kept pretending everything was fine while his world fell apart. December arrived with cold rain and the crushing weight of failure. Marcus showed up for his scheduled visit with Margot on a Saturday afternoon. Isla answered the door, and he could immediately see something had changed. Her expression was gentler, less hostile. "Come in." The apartment was decorated for Christmas. A tree in the corner with handmade ornaments that Isla had clearly created. Lights strung across the windows. The warm glow of a home filled with love. Margot, now 7 months old, sat in a high chair cheerfully destroying what appeared to be mashed sweet potatoes. When she saw Marcus, she did not cry, just stared at him with those serious dark eyes. "She is getting more comfortable with you," Isla observed. "That is good." Marcus sat heavily on the couch, the weight of everything crushing down on him. "Isla, I need to tell you something." She turned from the sink where she had been washing dishes, her expression wary. "What?" "The European expansion failed. The whole deal collapsed. I lost $2 million and nearly destroyed my business. Everything I gave up these past months, everything I sacrificed, it was all for nothing." He expected judgment, anger, maybe satisfaction. Instead, Isla dried her hands and sat across from him. "I am sorry. Are you? I destroyed our marriage for a failed business deal. You have every right to gloat." I am not going to gloat about your failure, Marcus. I am not cruel. Isla's voice was steady. But I do need you to understand something. Even if the European deal had succeeded, even if you had come back a billionaire, it would not have changed what you did. Success does not erase abandonment. I know that now. Marcus looked at his daughter, who was watching them both with intelligent eyes. I have been an idiot about everything. Yes, you have. I thought providing financially was the same as being a partner. I thought success would make up for absence. I thought. His voice broke. I thought wrong about everything. Isla was quiet for a long moment. What are you going to do now? I do not know. Try to save the business. Try to be a better father. Try to figure out who I am when I am not chasing the next big deal. That is a start. Marcus looked at her, really looked at her, saw not the struggling artist he had married, but a woman who had forged herself into something remarkable through necessity and willpower. You are extraordinary. I never saw it before, but you are absolutely extraordinary. I know. Isla said it without arrogance. I figured that out when I had to become extraordinary to survive. Is there any chance at all, that you could forgive me? That we could try again? Isla stood and moved to the Christmas tree, adjusted an ornament shaped like a paintbrush. Do you know what I learned this past year, Marcus? I learned that I do not need you to be happy. I do not need you to be successful. I do not need you to feel complete. I am whole all by myself. That is not an answer. Yes, it is. She turned to face him. I do not need you. But maybe, if you prove over time that you have actually changed, that you can be the father Margot deserves and the partner I deserved from the start, maybe I could choose you again. Not from need, but from genuine desire to build something together. How do I prove that? Time, consistency, showing up not when it is convenient, but when it matters, choosing Margot over business opportunities, choosing family over success. Isla's eyes held his. Can you do that? Marcus looked at his daughter, still happily making a mess of sweet potatoes. He thought about the business opportunities he had been chasing, the investors he had been courting, the next deal that was always just around the corner. Then he thought about what he had already lost, what he might lose forever if he did not change. Yes, and for the first time, he meant it with complete honesty. I can do that. I will do that. Then prove it, not with words, but with actions. Over the next 6 months, Marcus rebuilt his life from the ground up. He restructured his business to require less travel, made David the primary client contact, focused on sustainable growth instead of explosive expansion. He showed up for every scheduled visit with Margot. And when she got sick with a fever at 3 months old, he was there at 2 a.m., helping Isla cool her down with lukewarm baths and infant Tylenol. He attended one of Isla's gallery openings, not as her husband, but as a supporter. He watched her receive accolades for work that was raw and powerful and deeply personal. He understood finally that he had been married to a real artist, and his inability to see her talent had been a failure of his vision, not her ability. He started therapy, a decision that surprised even him, but he needed to understand why he had valued success over relationships, why he had been so willing to sacrifice love for achievement. The therapist helped him see patterns from his childhood. A father who had measured worth by professional accomplishment, a mother who had praised him only when he won or succeeded. He had been trying to earn love his entire life, not realizing it should have been freely given. By June, 1 year after he had returned from Europe, Marcus was a different man. Not perfect, but genuinely changed. He had learned to value presence over presence, time over money, connection over achievement. Isla noticed. She started inviting him to stay for dinner after his visits with Margot. They would sit at her small dining table, talk about their weeks, their hopes for Margot's future, books they were reading, art she was creating. It felt like dating, like getting to know each other as the people they were now instead of the people they had been. One evening in late June, Isla surprised him. Would you want to have dinner? Just the two of us, without Margot. Like a date. Marcus felt his heart skip. A date? Do not read too much into it. I am not saying we are getting back together, but I am willing to explore whether the man you have become is someone I could build a future with. They went to a small Italian restaurant, the same place they had gone on their first date years ago. when they were just two young people with dreams and no idea how complicated life would become. "Thank you for giving me this chance," Marcus said over wine. "You earned it." "Barely, but you earned it." Isla's smile took the sting out of the words. "I want to ask you something, and you can absolutely say no." "All right. Would you consider trying again? Really trying. Not jumping back into marriage, but dating. Getting to know each other as the people we are now, not the people we were 3 years ago." Isla set down her wine glass. "Considering, you are different. I will give you that. You show up. You are present with Margot. You have been consistent. But I am different too, Marcus. I am not the woman you married. I will not ever be that person again. Someone who makes herself small so you can feel big. I have my own career, my own ambitions, my own life. I do not want you to be small. I want you to be exactly who you are, even if that means sometimes my career comes first. Even if that means I cannot always be available to support your dreams because I am busy building my own. Yes, even then, especially then, you should have always had someone supporting your dreams as fiercely as you supported mine. That is the right answer." Isla's eyes shimmered with emotion. "So, is that a yes?" "It is a maybe. A strong maybe. Let's take it slow. See who we are when we are not in crisis mode." She reached across the table and took his hand. "I am willing to try, Marcus, but I will not sacrifice myself again. Not for you, not for anyone. I would not want you to." He squeezed her hand gently. "I fell in love with your strength this year, watching you build a life from nothing. Raise our daughter. Become this incredible artist. That is who I want to be with. The real you, not the version of you that I tried to shrink into fitting my life." They dated for 6 months. Real dating. Getting to know each other again. Marcus learned about the art world Isla had built for herself, the collectors who sought out her work, the gallery owners who respected her vision, the students who had flourished under her teaching. Isla learned about the man Marcus was becoming, someone who prioritized family over deals, who turned down lucrative opportunities if they required too much travel, who showed up for Margot's first steps and first words and every milestone in between. It was not perfect. They argued sometimes, about boundaries, about expectations, about whether Marcus was truly changed or just performing change to win her back. But they worked through it, with honesty, with therapy, with the hard-earned wisdom that comes from nearly losing everything. In December, Marcus proposed, not with a grand gesture, but with a simple question over dinner at Isla's apartment while Margot slept in the next room. "Will you marry me?" Again, for real this time. As equals. Isla looked at the ring. Simple, elegant, nothing like the flashy diamond he had given her the first time. This ring was thoughtful, personal, chosen because he knew her taste, not because it would impress other people. "Yes, but I have conditions." "Name them." "We see a marriage counselor before the wedding. We keep our finances partially separate so I always maintain independence. You never, ever choose business over family again. And if you do, I will not give you a third chance. Deal." Marcus felt tears in his eyes. "All of it. Whatever you need to feel safe." They remarried in a small ceremony 6 months later. Just family and close friends. Helena cried. David gave a speech about second chances. Margot, now almost 2 years old, toddled down the aisle dropping flower petals with chaotic enthusiasm. The vows were different this time. Real, honest, acknowledging past failures and future commitments. When they kissed, it felt like a beginning, not a continuation. Something entirely new built on the ashes of what had burned down. 2 years after the remarriage, Marcus and Isla stood in the backyard of their home. Not a mansion, but a comfortable craftsman in a good neighborhood with a yard for Margot to play in and a studio for Isla's art. Margot, now 4 years old, ran through the grass chasing bubbles that Helena was blowing for her. Her laughter filled the air like music. "She is so happy here," Isla observed, leaning against Marcus. "We all are." He wrapped an arm around his wife, around the woman who had saved him by refusing to need him. "Do you ever regret it?" Isla asked. "Giving up the big business dreams, the European expansion that could have been?" Marcus thought about the question honestly. His business was successful but not spectacular. He had prioritized work-life balance over explosive growth. He made comfortable money but would never be a billionaire. Never. I had everything I wanted, and I almost threw it away for the illusion of success. Real success is right here. You, Margot, this life we have built together. Good answer. Isla kissed him softly. Because I have news. What news? She took his hand and placed it on her stomach. We are pregnant, due in February. Marcus felt tears spring to his eyes. Really, really, and this time, you are not going anywhere. This time you are here for every moment. I am here for everything, he promised. Every doctor's appointment, every weird craving, every midnight panic, all of it. Even the gross stuff, especially the gross stuff. He pulled her close. I missed all of it with Margot. I will not miss a single second this time. Margot ran over, demanding more bubbles, demanding attention, demanding the childhood she deserved with two parents who were actually present. Marcus picked her up, spun her around, listened to her delighted squeals, and felt gratitude so intense it was almost painful. 4 years ago, he had left his pregnant wife with $50 and flown to Europe chasing success. He had thought he was being smart, strategic, building a future. He had been wrong about everything. The deal had failed. The money had been lost. But worst of all, he had nearly destroyed the only things that actually mattered. If this story of transformation and second chances has touched your heart, I want you to do something for me right now. Hit that like button. Subscribe to Billionaire Love Stories with Mr. Brad. Because these stories, these journeys of heartbreak and redemption, they matter. They remind us what is actually important in life. Share this video with someone who needs to hear that people can change. That second chances are possible, but only when they are earned through consistent action and genuine transformation. Comment below and tell me honestly, do you think Isla was right to give Marcus a second chance? Or was she too forgiving? I read every single comment and I want to know what you think. Hit that notification bell so you never miss a story that could change how you see love and success and the choices we make when we think we are building a future. Because here is the truth that Marcus learned the hard way. Success is not measured in millions or international deals or impressive titles. It is measured in moments, in your daughter's laughter, in your partner's trust, in coming home to people who actually want you there, not because they need you, but because they choose you. Marcus had traveled to Europe with $50 in his pocket for his pregnant wife and dreams of conquest in his heart. He came back to find that the woman he had abandoned had become someone far more extraordinary than he had ever imagined. Someone who did not need him to save her because she had already saved herself. The shock was not that Isla had survived. It was that she had thrived. That she had taken his abandonment and transformed it into fuel for her own success. That she had looked at the $50 he left her and decided it was not enough. So she built an empire from determination and talent and the fierce love of a mother who would do anything for her child. And when Marcus finally understood what he had lost, when he finally saw Isla for who she really was, he had to make a choice. He could keep chasing the next deal, the next opportunity, the next illusion of success, or he could choose the harder path, the path of showing up, of being present, of proving through consistent action that he had actually changed. He chose his family, and in doing so, he found the success that had eluded him in Europe. Not financial success, but the kind of success that makes you grateful to wake up every morning, the kind of success that fills your home with laughter and your heart with peace. Sometimes the greatest gifts come disguised as our greatest losses. Sometimes the people who hurt us most are also capable of the most profound change. And sometimes love really can conquer all. Not the easy love of compatible strangers, but the hard-won love of two people who have seen each other at their worst and chosen to believe in each other's best. Marcus and Isla had learned that lesson the hard way, but their love was stronger for having survived the test. Their family was built not on fairy tale romance, but on the solid foundation of honesty, accountability, and the daily choice to choose each other over everything else. In the end, the woman Marcus had called his greatest asset had become his biggest regret. And then, through grace and hard work and the willingness to genuinely change, she had become his greatest treasure. Not because he owned her, but because she chose him. Every single day, despite everything, because of everything. That is the kind of love worth fighting for. That is the kind of success worth measuring. That is the kind of story worth sharing. So share it, like it, subscribe, and remember, The next time you are tempted to choose ambition over love, money over presence, success over family, remember Marcus Vail. Remember the man who traveled to Europe and came home to find he had lost everything that mattered. Do not make his mistakes. Choose better, love harder, show up consistently, and build a life that is measured not in dollars but in moments, not in deals closed but in hands held, not in international expansion but in the small sacred space of home. Because when Marcus held his second daughter for the first time, in the hospital room where Isla labored with him beside her this time, he understood a truth that no business deal could teach him. This was success, this moment, this family, this woman who had every reason to shut him out but chose to let him back in. And it was worth more than all the money in the world.